Why not? It's been many a year. I mean, shoot, I first started around 2006, so I started a year after Jad was released, and I never tried because it's especially difficult at that time. Even 2008, 2009, even in 2010, there were I don't remember when Rarg and Wooks did all their videos, but I know that there weren't mainstream videos and guides that were out. Uh, there definitely really wasn't prayer flicking. People just brought a bunch of pots. I don't know. There had to be early fire capes successes before prayer flicking was figured out, and especially before summoning, because summoning was 2008. But I remember when summoning came out, like it was a year after, probably in the 2010s, 2011s, there started becoming guides using pack yaks. I started in 2008, and I certainly didn't have pack yaks. I didn't have pack yaks until later, after multiple DXP events, because I'll tell you now, the hunting for charms is just a pain. That's the only thing that I don't like about summoning. It's just such a huge waste of time trying to get all the different charms. We're gonna try it today. I'm not gonna be using summoning. Yeah, I gotta go through the Tsar City. I've been a couple of times since they've updated the graphics. Tsar kind of looks cool, and I do like. I kind of miss the forearms melee Tsar guys, but I do like the new designs a lot better. Yeah. I don't know why they decided to get rid of the... Well, okay, so that's a thrower. Yeah, I don't know why they got rid of the forearms. It's still more menacing that they have, the clubs and all that. Let's see, I've done the kiln. I'm gonna do the fight cave. No one does the fight pits. The fight pits have been dead when the achievements came out around 2009, 2010. It was fairly hard to, it's like a medium level achievement to participate in the fight cave. Someone's in the fight cave? Oh, it's an Iron Man. Oh, I can't have a familiar? Okay. So this is probably going to go really rough. I'm just going to try it. Prayer stacking. They have all sorts of... I guess Bloods was probably the way to do it back then, but it was difficult getting that many Blood runes. The ability to craft Blood runes wasn't a thing until like 2011 after... I think it's River of Blood? That might be the wrong quest, don't quote me on that entirely. These guys do no damage. So... Basically hit the sixes. All the way through. I know it gets tougher and tougher. Now when my thing gets down to a quarter, I'll start bringing out. So I mean, I've got enough to bring summons. I don't know why I'm trying to be stingy on ectoplasm. It's not like I can't A, buy a bunch, B, create a bunch. I gotta figure out if there's a good way. I know you can buy quality of slime, but I've got the ability to turn slime into straight ectoplasm. I made a bunch of inks. Starting to get a little low on some of them. I made a bunch of graders and a bunch of normals. My health is already back up. See, now I've participated in the fight cave, and I think the highest I made it back then pre-EOC was round 20. These guys used to hit a lot harder. I mean, there's certainly a power imbalance that goes into all this. I definitely could. I don't have that on lock. Maybe the next round of XP points that I get, I should spend into the life, extend life incantation, whatever it's called. Life transfer. I should spend it in life transfer. That's the only one I don't have, minus that one. Oh yes, you hit a lot harder. Not really. Yeah, those guys used to just like bang, man. Pre-EOC, I was around the last highest skills. I was around 80 for attack, and attack is what I mainly used. I don't know. I had the rune crafting level. I had it up to 77, specifically to make bloods. But the only way, I don't know, a lot of it is like time versus reward. Of course, RuneScape's meant to be a grindy game, so a lot of the activities that they make are a lot of them, I would say, border on egregious, like just like ridiculous. Because not RuneSpan, but the Rune Crafting Guild and the Project Orb minigame was one of them. That was just like, that minigame was really click intensive. Oh, I should have been running away. My bad. Where's the last guy? Right on my ass. Oh shit. That guy. Yeah, that minigame was really click intensive. There's a lot of stuff to do. Of course, it's like every other minigame at that, where it's team versus team. You gather the resources. You're trying to block. I don't remember the entirety of it, but you're trying to block. You're trying to direct an orb into your goal, and the enemy's trying to direct an orb into their goal, and it takes places on various altars. I'm kind of mad that those achievements don't... I mean, I guess that'd be hard to track, really. They're not tracking it before. But I am kind of peeved off that those achievements didn't track, because I played that minigame a lot, and I was on all base... I don't know how many Runecraft altars that they went to, but I know I did all base ones. I know I was at the Law altar. I don't know if they had bloods and deaths and all that, but I would have had the ability to be there. You know, maybe the rest of the player base probably wasn't, because runecrafting still is one of those least desirable skills. But no one really likes training it, even though RuneSpan has made it super easy to AFK there, and it's... I guess it's somewhat desirable. I mean, it's still, from what I remember, it's still low rates. Somewhere in the excess of like 100,000 when you're training for it, not when you AFKing it. But I always do that. I go off on like a lot of tangents because I feel like there is a ton to RuneScape. There's a ton to talk about. But why I brought up the Great Orb Project is because before anything else, there's probably other methods now, and I think there is. I think the Darkmire, there's one of the quests 2016, 2017 that gets you the Draken Medallion that allows you teleports for congealed blood, and the introduction of Halectomy, or like blood alchemy, basically. Before that, they had that teleport to the Darkmire laboratories, so you can essentially have a free quest-related item to teleport to the Blood Altar for free. The only way to the Blood Altar was either traveling there manually, which is a nightmare to try and bank. If you're doing it completely on foot, you're having to run all of Mire Ditch, which, you know, you have to memorize the paths, and they didn't have the high contrast modes, so it really was just a nightmare to try and do on your first couple of runs, and it's still a nightmare to do after that. Or you'd have to make a crap load of teleports, and this was before lodestones too, because lodestones were not a pre-EOC item; it was a post-EOC thing. So your only options were to walk that whole entire length, walk back to Berg de Rot, or teleport. I don't even know where you teleport, because they didn't have ancient teleports. So you'd probably have to... they didn't have ancient telepaths. You'd have to have 3 wasted spaces for your teleports. Teleport all the way back to Canifis, do those quests, have the fast travel ability. I forgot who's right outside the gate there, but it's like one of the early quests. You get the access to talk to a guy who sits outside of the gates, and they, after the quest, you're allowed to fast travel. Instead of doing temple trekking, minigame from 2006 to, I guess essentially fast travel to get around all the gas. Because the gas at that time, when you're mid to high levels, are more annoying than they are like deadly. Rather than doing that minigame to travel through to get rid of the gas and the potential dangerousness of the Mort Myers swamps, you could just fast travel with that guy, and it would take you directly to Berg de Rot, and you'd still have to travel via boat. And you'd have to do all these quests to be able to do to get access to Darkmire and the access to all the slums. But then you would have to walk through Darkmire again and get to the Mire Ditch laboratories to be able to get to the Blood Altar. So it's like this huge thing where you're wasting slots. It's a huge amount of time. It's like, dude, I don't know, it was like 8 to 10 minutes travel just to get there. I'd have to look up what because I think it only multiplies, blood's only multiplied by 2, and that's like around like level 92. So you're getting straight 1-to-1 ratio for a long time. Bloods were definitely not the method for fast XP. I think Nature Rune still held that at the time. Possibly Laws. I know Laws are a little annoying too. I can't remember if summoning familiars are banished, but I know equipment's banished. You can't hold any armor or weapons. Again, I'm going off on a tangent. I'll try and keep this straight to the point. that getting blood runes were a pain in the ass. You'd have to specifically fight monsters. I guess the best, most efficient way is to have high enough level in whatever respect to fight whatever monster drops blood runes pretty specifically. Or if you had a high enough rune crafting level, you could spend time at the Arena Altar, which has a randomized chance to give you an amount of runes and any available runes, and just do that a bunch until you get to your level. But you could spend this is all anecdotal, but I think you for bloods you would spend about 10 to 20,000 runes just to get 1,000 to 2,000 blood runes, unless you get really great RNG. So it was a pain in the ass to get those. You had to spend a lot of time. Back then, Pure Essence was like right before I quit. Pure Essence was anywhere from 300 to 400 GP at its highest that I remember. So it was a pain in the ass to get. You could get it from temple trekking, get the temple trekking points. You did have to spend. It wasn't like a huge setup, but you did have to spend some time just to get 200. You were absolutely lazy and did not want to mine 200 because that was the high mining level that I had around 70 to 80. You would get a full inventory pretty quick, and then you'd have to. I think Varrock is the fastest one because you could travel from Ardone, you could travel from Varrock, you could travel from the Wizards Guild. I don't know if there's any more. I think those were the only 3 available at the time. But Varrock seemed to be just the fastest. So more click intensive than I really wanted it to. You know, the teleport option is second, so you had to right click. There wasn't any way to change it at the time. Oh, what am I doing? I already fucked. I'm too into this. I was gonna do 2 sets for the tier 90 power. No, tank armor. Sorry. There was 2 sets of this that I needed to do for the tank armor. I've had a Soul Reaper task forever. That's Kill Jad, and so that's one of the requirements is you have to get a Soul Reaper task done. But this would get it given it done. The second requirement is to charge up a fragment by killing Jad, and that, you know, this is also part of the task, so it would have been a 2-in-1. But I guess I'll just get 2 fire cubes, I guess. Man, I'm already like way past my power creep on this game is insane. I haven't done Jed yet, so you know there's always a possibility that I'll mess up one of these prayer flicks and instantly die, which I don't want to happen. But if it happens, it's a lot better than there's an opportunity for positivity from that. Like it won't be like a complete loss. So it's like I didn't do it on my first try. Second try, I guess, maybe even third. I might have tried fight caves at other times. So I've at least tried this once and failed. Like right around wave 20, I'm way past. I'm way past where I failed in the past. But again, rather than just it being a complete failure, it's like, well, this gives me an opportunity to do 2-in-1, even if I do fail. So it's not a complete loss. Then I guess you can look at that negatively too. And if I win, it's not a complete win because I didn't bring that thing slot to come back. If I'm able to take down Jad pretty easily, then, you know, at least it'll be good for the second time. The second time will be easier. I feel like even melee would be easy at this point because they've built, they've nerfed it. That's for sure. Because you used to be able to get a lot more health from the, whatever you call them, bloodletting abilities, the ones that allow you to regenerate some health. You get a lot. You used to be able to get a lot more health when they had more abilities because you could spam some more of the thresholds and get health draining effects, the health leeching effects. But you still to get some. It's not really like a life-sustaining thing. You still have to use a vampirism aura in conjunction with that. But dude, necromancy is like the king for sustainability, at least. As long as your ghost can out DPS the damage that you're getting. If you're getting hit for, it's a little over 1,000. I think if you're getting hit 1,500s every time, that's like where the sustainability sits there, because your ghost can heal you up enough to just kind of negate the damage coming in. Like, don't quote me on that. I guess I should. Right, that's that. Maybe I got up farther. Maybe I got to. No, because I haven't gotten yet. I feel like I have. I feel like I killed one of these. This was probably before the area test thing. So I remember I killed one of these, and then we get to the second portion where you have the little, these guys, these little, whatever, Tz-Key, or Tz-Key, or whatever, Tz-Key. Those things were a menace, man. They do steady DPS. These guys would just do huge damage. But these things you'd have to worry about before the fight to take them out. These little trash mob minions. They always had low health, but if you couldn't one-shot them, they'd sit there and do constant damage on you. And now it's like they're not even anything because they don't even do damage anymore. This is still just a time thing, man. It's like there's 64 waves of this crap. The fight kill I've gotten pretty high in. I remember I've done that because that was in... Is that a pre-OC thing? Because I think around the birthright of the dwarves, I think that was around the same time of the fight killing. I'll have to look that up because I'm not complete certain on that. I don't remember if I got this pre or post EOC, the fight killing quest. So I want to say that what I remember is that I've done the fight kill before EOC, and I've done it a couple of times. That probably was post EOC, so I remember using abilities. I'll have to look that one up to be honest. If it came out pre-EOC, then I've completed it pre-EOC because this was not one of the quests that I had to. He's not attacking? Oh, nice. Yeah, if this came out pre-EOC, this was not one of the quests that I had to finish post-EOC, because I only had 3 quests, and I remember citing them verbatim. You know, just about every time. And then when I try and remember them now, I can only remember the 2 of the Void Stares Back and Nomad's Requiem. Those Those two were just way too hard to defeat with the rune fucking armor that I had. I got close. I got close on both of them. I actually had, before I quit, I had the Pest Queen down to whatever it was pre-EOC. I think because they only added one extra zero. This was before they added 2 zeros, and you had the 12,000 to 13,000, and use a power burst of vitality. You can have like up to 20, 30,000 of health. This was when they only added 1 zero, so instead of having 99 hit points, you had 990 constitution. I think it was like probably when you had her down to. It was below. You had to have it like 15% or below, or 20% or below. So it was around there. I had it to that threshold, and I misclicked on the ability. Start the record. First time I had to eat, wave 39. Yeah, I misclicked on that one, and she healed up past a point, and I ran out of food, and I eventually died. And I think I did that twice where I took too long and I misclicked. And so, like, I tried doing Nomad's Requiem, and I got him down to like 15% health, and I'd either run over his bombs and die. I think there was a health mechanic too, so I think he healed up one time, and I just gave up. I was like, fuck this. Honestly, it's been a while. I just remember I got close on both of them, and I just never completed it. I didn't give up because of not being able to complete the quest. Because, I got hacked. So what's up? What do you want? Cool. Ban him, YouTube. Ban him. If you won't stream on YouTube or put any content on YouTube and stream on Twitch, I can't put any new content on YouTube. If he doesn't stream or put anything on YouTube, I give up. Oh yeah, I'm going after Jed. So far, mate. Huh? Yeah. It's considerably easier than it was in the past. Like, I'm using tier 70 necromancy stuff, and that's terminal. Terminal 1. I didn't fill up my stuff before. Yeah, it's considerably easier. I mean, the last time that I tried the fight caves pre-EOC, I only got to wave like 20 or 30 before I, completely ran out of food. And the first time I ate was around wave 39. It's the first time I had to eat food. No prayers, nothing. He should have got something that, well, that wasn't helping him. It was an item that, I think it's a necklace that you can bury bones, bone crushing, that stores some fire. Well, I guess I could have kept on to my holy wrench. I'm not doing bad at all. Not doing bad at all. I think this still would be pretty challenging in old school. Like, I know there's a ton of high-level content that if you're able to do, like, Theater of Blood or Masquerade's Tomb or any of that stuff, you're able to get the armor and weapons, and obviously it's not, but if you're trying to do this like as mid-tier content, because this is supposed to be geared around for mid-tier content, it's still decently hard, especially if you're one of those like Rard that are doing it on a level 3 account. It's a lot of mechanic manipulating and preparation and setup and resource collecting. But even though it's still easier to do on old school RuneScape than it was back in its heyday, I think it's still, just for playing this, I think it's still a lot tougher than RuneScape 3 is, because I barely use anything, and I'm gonna breeze all the way up to Jad. I'll just say that now. It's gonna be super easy getting to Jad. I'm not really worried about this. I mean, I could just cycle through abilities that take out half their health. I mean, I don't know how. I'd honestly have to look, because a bunch of these bosses, they reduce their health. Or the pre-EOC monsters, they've reduced their health. Or they boost it, like in the God Wars exceptions, they've boosted their health past, like, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. Like, you figure they added on these extra 2 zeros, and that's all they would do for health. A bunch of these monsters, they either set some arbitrary number, like I think even the King Black Dragon. King Black Dragon may be more than what its health pool was. I'd have to look at Classic Wiki and see what the health was, and then look at that versus RuneScapes. Because I'm gonna say the KMD had like 300 or so. I know the Court Beast. Yeah, well, Rard was the first one credited to do it on a level 3 account. There's a mechanic that old school RuneScape uses that they fix it on certain bosses, but pretty much anything that was pre-07, anything that's a projectile that's ranged or magic, it calculates the damage, like when the turn of anything, the player, the monsters, anything like that happens, and it casts that spell or projectile, the game already knows what damage you're going to do, but it doesn't declare that damage until it physically contacts with your target. So, like, the game knows if you're going to hit a 37, a 0, splash, whatever, before you make contact with your target. But it doesn't compute it as hitting you until the physical projectile touches your character. So you can tick manipulate, and it's like a very tight window. You can tick manipulate damage and negate it pretty much. I'd have to watch the videos and see exactly how this works, but the game knows like what you're going to hit before it hits, but you can eat a certain amount. So if this thing's going to do a 30, that's how it works. If it's going to do a 39 and you only have 10 health left, then it just counts that you do that, it does that 10 damage, and so then you'll be at 0 health and you're dead. If you're able to tick manipulate and eat in time, what you essentially do is that thing. Well, yeah, so it only does 10 damage, but you heal in time and you have 11. So it takes that 10 off your 11 and you survive. And that's how Rarg is. And then he uses. There's something that compacts recoil, rings of recoil. So he just charges a bunch into an item. And. That's the wrong fucking thing. He charges a bunch into that item. And then he uses something like sweets that you can stack 1,000,000 times over, and he just eats the 3 health or whatever that they provide him, and he just sits there and he slowly whittles down every single monster with their own damage. And he's been able to get a fire cape at someone with 10 health, 1 attack, 1 defense, 1 strength, 1 ranged, and 1 magic. That is some nerd shit. And then on top of that, you have to, I guess you could just negate it. I guess if you're gonna go, like, old school, you have to prayer flick on top of that, because Jad does an obscene amount of damage, even to the highest levels, if you don't prayer flick. Then old school RuneScape also kept walking, which you kite, like you basically kite an enemy and keep it moving, and you're able to attack the enemy without it attacking you. You can like walk underneath it, so it doesn't attack you. Step out, attack it, and then walk back underneath it. Because the old AI had tracing problems. RS3 got rid of that, so you can't, like, you used to be able to walk next. They got rid of that EOC, so you can't really walk it anymore. But it's like, man, like, you ruined. And they got rid of player flicking too. They added that extra 0 onto summoning and prayer. So you can't prayer flick. And it's like, these were long staple components. Like, I don't understand why you got rid of them. I mean, I guess it doesn't work with their new system, but you know. Lame. How much do I have? I still have a pretty good decent amount. I guess I need to go just a little bit harder on the food. I don't want to burn all my prayers of renewal. I guess next time I'll carry more of those and use a holy wrench not looking pretty bad right now. I mean, I'm definitely going to make it towards the last wave. It's just, I guess, for like an efficiency run, I could do better. Doing pretty good right now. Need to conjure up another one. I don't know why that's right. Okay, we need to get rid of this guy. I still have the prayer renewal. Damn. Oh, yeah, that's why you wanted to get rid of those guys. My prayer, the highest that I had it for pre-OC was 7. So it's like you would get rid of those pretty quick. I didn't have the high... yeah, this definitely wasn't... You didn't have combi potions. I guess, looking back at it now, it would have been way better to just use the regular prayer renewal potions rather than the combi potion for it, because the combi potions were 2014, so that was post USC. But I don't even think I had access to those. I didn't have whatever it is, level 80 Earthwork. It was thanks to EOC, basically, and the double XP weekends, to be able to utilize the amount of XP that you get. And before that, they made it, you only had 2 weeks. They basically had DXP for like 2 weeks straight, and it was on an unlimited budget, so you could get as much double XP as you want there for a time. It was basically thanks to that I have the stats that I have now. Especially Dungeoneering, man. Oh my god, I hate that skill. I don't like ED, the elite dungeons either, but I'd much rather do elite dungeons, scour them, kill the bosses, mini mobs and stuff, and just keep completely wipe those over and over again for eternity to get the max XP rate of 100,000 an hour than ever do dungeons. Because the best rates that you get are in parties, and it's super hard to find parties anymore. Oh, shit, only 2 waves away. So I probably carried more than enough potions at this point. I mean, I could keep chugging these overloads so I have max DPS. Oh, wait, I'm on leader now. Wow. I need to get these on. I'm sitting there trying to. I need to get these right there. Well, I borked that. What? Did that bank everything? Oh, okay, no, it didn't. Keep the overloads. We'll the one fire. I don't want that much. Sailfish. Deposit one, so we're not doing that again. No. That. We could do the 2 for 1. Also, that's the, Did I get my Tokul? I don't see my Tokul. No, it's a little more. No. Yeah, I don't think 10% helps in that way. It'd be nice if they made a passive for that. Okay, we're gonna try this again. I super panicked. This is super doable. I mean, I wasted more prayer renewals than any. So around wave 40, I want to use 35 to 40. I want to use the overload since I've got plenty of that. Let's burn through it. And I gotta remember when he rears up, it's magic. When he stomps, it's ranged. That's gonna be the only hard thing is trying to manage. It's just basically just management, trying to sweep through the pages. I'm still bad at that. I know I'm trying to use a laptop for this. And honestly, necromancy's make EOC combat fun. Low barrier of entry, and it does pretty decent damage. I think they've toned it down a little bit on basically anything that's post 2023, so it's only the newer of the newest bosses that, depending on boss, like of course the sort of Meagle or Zerregal and Warcath fight. It's supposed to be a necromancy fight. At the beginning of Raziel, whenever he was first out, apparently he was weak to necromancy, and you would do just buku's amount of damage with tier 90 stuff, so he was super easy to defeat. Hermod, the Spirit of War, is pretty decent against it. I think ranged is the preferred method of combat versus Zamorak, because while Necromancy is good, it seems like ranged is what everyone does for the super high level DPS stuff, especially when you're doing anything past Enrage 100. But Necromancy is a staple for anything past or anything 2023 below. The only thing it doesn't really work on, and it kind of, I guess it makes sense. It's kind of stinky that, like, the Calphite Queen they left alone, and you can just Necromancy, not have to worry about protection players or prayers. So anyone that's mid-tier combat levels, I'm talking like 50, are fine using probably 60 and above. I know that one of these armor levels you had to be level 70, which is crazy. They made 70 for hard mode mole, which is super easy at anything that's 70 and above. Super easy. They should have lowered those requirements to like 50 or 60 just to make a little challenge. But yeah, the moles, like Necromancy is pretty much king. Just for a budget setup, because you don't really have to buy any of this stuff. If you do, you have to buy the initial investments to make all the rituals and all the material. But if you farm your own rams for the Summerdown Wolf, for the threads, and you spend the initial, I forget what it is, like 45k for all the regular, lesser necroplasm or whatever, so you build up and create all the different ghostly inks and all that stuff, and you're not buying all this stuff. It's like a really budget level build compared to all the other skills. I guess once you get, for Ironman, once you get up to tier 80, like, you have to start getting the subjugation sets for the insoles. It becomes a little more pain in the ass. But just about everything that's past 2023, like Court Beast, all these monsters that used to be just deadly, impossible, like Necromancy is king against them. And you can just, as long as you have the resources, the food and the potions, you have the prayer level, because if you have 43, you're going to kind of struggle. You at least need 70 for Court Beast and all this stuff. If you have 70, then you're pretty golden on all these monsters. Whether the sigils from Court Beast, all of them still hold some value. Subjugation sets hold value. It's all for invention. You know, they made a money sink now that no one's buying this stuff for PvP. Without invention, all this stuff would just sit in banks. It would become, the market would be absolutely flooded, and all this stuff would be worthless. You'd literally be buying like whips. Whips, you need to have 90 Slayer to be able to get access to kill Dark Beast. And you have to spend time killing Dark Beast. And you get this thing that's worth 45k. It's just, all that stuff would be worthless. Like God Swords would be 45k. Subjugation sets would probably be, probably around 1 million, maybe 900k. Shoot, the Psionics and all them, the tier 80 stuff would probably be a couple of million instead of the 14 or 20 million or whatever they are. Yeah, necromancy's food. Man, there's videos showing that it's doable to do next at level 70. In fact, that's a requirement. Tier 80 power armor, so you have to be, before you can wear sets, you have to craft them. So for the power armor, you're limited to tier 70. And I think this would be more doable if I had tier 70 power armor. I traded the regular tank armor, and I'm not able to out DPS the blood phase. So it makes it like I get stuck on the blood phase. I was trying to go for like tier 80 to tier 90 tank armor so I could continue with power armor and then create another set of regular tank armor and then have a separate set for the power armor. But I kind of got stuck at Nex. Without that blood phase, Nex really isn't bad anymore. I mean, I remember when that came out pre-EOC, and I didn't know it at the time. I didn't recognize it as Wooks, but I did remember that there were solo guides that came out like a year later. But when that shit came out, it was impossible to solo Nex. And I know people are soloing Angel of Death. And I remember when they basically pumped up next to the current level of power economy for all the equipment out there, that it was impossible to solo it. There's one attack that happens that is typeless. You cannot negate, and it does more damage than you can physically have health. It does like 110 damage on you. Couldn't solo it, and people have figured out how to solo that now. I think there's only 2 bosses currently that you can't solo. I think that's Emasculate and someone else. One of the bosses. You could solo Vorago, which was another one you couldn't solo before. I think that's because of the introduction of the Power Burst sets. Shoot, I should have carried a Power Burst file just in case I need to panic. Oh. This time I'm gonna get farther than where I did. I don't think that they have any fire cape drops, but man, this thing, or announcements, it's probably announces to friends. They should have server-wide announcements though for it. And that's still an achievement. Like, I think they should have legends once too, even though those quests are so outdated and they're so easy, lore-wise and account-wise, they're still relevant. I think they should have quest announcements too. Like for the major ones, like they made the Zamorak quest. They should have ones that are like, hey, you completed the quest. Maybe have it timed like within a week of the quest drop, but I don't know. Something that encourages like socialization. Because I've talked to some of these people, I mostly done it to people that have what I contribute for as ridiculous drop logs, like being super dry. It's probably right on par. I think Ivar has one of the new bosses, free-to-play bosses for Havenhide, but a lot of people go to Ivar. Even though we're on members worlds, I see more Ivar loincloth drops than I do the silver quill drops. The highest one I've seen so far is 1,300 kills for Ivar. And while I'm thinking that its threshold is probably right around 1,000 to 1,500, maybe even, it might even be more ridiculous as 2,000. I think that's ridiculous for Ivar. Silver Quill, I think the highest I've seen is 500. There's not a lot of completions that I see from world to world. Because I stay around World 2, World 4 all the time. So it's, I don't know. Can't really say it's the most populated one. Because there's other worlds that, depending on the time and what event's going on, they can get more populated than this one. But it stays consistently populated at peak times. We see more Ivar drops than Hedgehog drops. Silver Quill one takes longer to kill. It has more hit points, and I think it spawns slower than Ivar does. And it also, it's not more complicated, as in it's harder, because really at this level it's just as simple. There's more steps to it. Ivar attacks the same way, so you can sit there and pray melee against him. And then when he's doing his special, depending on what animation he does, he'll either sweep at you melee style, depending on where you're positioned when he launches the attack to you. He may, I think he raises up his club up, like he's going to strike down towards you for magic, and he kind of brings his club up and a little bit out when he's doing ranged. But they have a big telegraph square, and they have the telegraph square. They'll do an animation, and sometimes they'll say conk, something conk like conk blast for magic, and then it says another thing for magic. Sorry. No. What am I saying? He'll say conk blast for magic, and he'll say something else for ranged, and he never says anything for melee. You just notice that he brings his club out towards the side of him, like he's gonna do a sweeping motion. And sweeping, and that's it. He has 3 attack styles and no phases. While the Silver Quill will, when it uses its ability, it will always spit up blood, or sanguine, or whatever that's supposed to be. And then, it has 3 phases that you can see when it hits 80. No, it's 40,000. No, it's 50,000. When you're doing a single solo instance, it does like 56. When you drop it from 80 to 56, somewhere in there, it hits phase 1 when you have to hit the tumors before it heals up and does you for like 1,700 damage without the sanguine potions. And then 26 is the second phase that it does, where you have to kill 2 tumors, and then you can continue to damage it from 26 on to 0. So there's a lot more towards it, and there's a lot more stops. Ivar, you can get them in like less than 30 seconds, and I think the Hedgehog Quill, you pretty much are killing them at like 30 to 20 seconds, high DPS. Long ass tangent why I brought them up as new bosses. I mean, I guess it makes sense because these bosses weren't around when all the requirements came out for Necromancy, but it's still wild to me that at level 70 they've made, and it's weird too, level 70 tank armor you have to power armor, power armor, regular tank armor. I had it right the first time. Level 70 regular tank armor. You have to kill the Black Dragon Queen, the QBD. You have to kill her, which when it came out in 2014 was the hardest thing that came out during that time. It was harder than Calfight Queen. It was harder than Calfight King. It was harder than Calfight King was the hardest thing when it came out during its time. It was even harder than that. It was harder than the Corporeal Beast. It was harder than Jad. It was harder than everything else. They made that a tier 70 requirement. But for the power armor, for the DPS armor, they made it that you have to kill the hard mode Mole and Calfight Queen. Like, the requirements seem backwards, because it seems like it should be that each tier that you go up, the requirements get harder and harder, but how are you going to make someone kill the Queen Black Dragon that even still at that time, I had to use resources. I could only stay in there for 2 to 3 kills, and then I have to back out and get new resources at that tier 60 armor. But the Mole, I could stay in there in hard mode for like 20 kills, 30 kills, and be fine. And the Calfight Queen, I haven't really stayed in there, but I can stay in there for like 50 before I'm dead out of resources. And if I had those blessed flask shells for the extreme prayer pods, I could stay in there for indefinitely, man. I could be in there all day and be just fine. But the requirements seem backwards, and then it's even with these new bosses, it seems even more backwards that for tier 70, the Mole and the Calfight Queens are the ones that they chose, because it's like these new bosses, Ivar and the Quill, are a lot harder than both of those. They're not even that hard. Seems like they should have made those tier 40 and 50 respectively. Like, being conservative, I think you could have made them even more so at like tier 20 or 30. Would have been 20 would be stupid. Tier 30s would be pushing it. Probably 50 and 60 would be fine for the majority of the player base, but like realistically, if you're doing even like an upgraded one that was like plus a power armor plus, you know, 20 and 30, whatever. Like a DPS Supreme, where it's like geared completely towards DPS, and if you have a certain scenario and a certain amount of chains, you do way higher damage output than the regular power armor. I digress. Jagex will release content and then they'll patch it in a decade. They'll be quick to patch out anything that has ludicrously high DPS range, but anything that's quality of life or should be patched, that you can do around, but it's quite janky and quite opposite of what they tried to were achieving with said boss monster or said mechanic. They'll take years to fix. Basically, the rule is if it's fun, Jagex will patch it immediately, and if it's unfun, Jagex will patch it in the next 10 years. Jagex creator. Be wild though, how much shit I talk about him. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it, you know. If it's stinky, it's stinky. I haven't eaten a single time. Ah. I should do that. We'll get those up a bit, and then I'll start to. We'll have to use some of this, some of these prayer points. Yeah, I remember why this was so deadly pre-EOC. It's because they would sap your prayer and you would just be stuck. I didn't have access to prayer and no potions. And even pre-EOC, I didn't have a crafting level. It's 89 to make the flasks. And you know, back before money was super abundant, you know. Even back pre-EOC, if you had 1,000,000 coins, it was still considered a lot of money. Like, a billion was crazy. 100 million was like, you're doing decent. That was like high. That was, 100 million was enough to sustain a cash flow to where you could do PvP content, sell the stuff that you get on the Grand Exchange or towards your peers, and keep that cash flow consistent. That was like the step before you use that money to get you to the next level and start having billions. Even at that time, 100 million was still crazy, and that was like the top 5% of RuneScape, I would say. And like the top 0.01% had a billion. Like a billion was super crazy. Even at that time, 800 million was whatever the rare. Like I think everyone wants the white P hat. And then the purple one is the one that costs the less. But I digress. I think the white P hats were 800 mil. The Santas were 250 mil. So if you had 250 mil, you're still considered rich. Whereas nowadays, if you don't have 100 mil, then like you're not doing that great. Like 100 mil is basic requirement for end game content. Like you should be expected at the level that I'm at, you should have 100 mil, and you should be able to consistently keep it there. You should be able to generate either through skilling or PVMing. You should be able to maintain 100 mil. If you don't do that, like something's seriously wrong. I guess seriously wrong. Like it's not like you're like, oh, you know, you're not playing the game right. Because I don't want to perpetuate that. I don't like how the whole entire player social economy has shifted over to no XP ways. So I really miss those. I really miss just playing mini games, not because you're getting the most amount of experience or you're getting the you're doing the most efficient resources as a reason to do any content in RuneScape. I just liked it for the socialization and fun. You know, shit talking like Soul Wars, or even Pest, where they're like, oh, you didn't create those barriers, you suck. Or, you know, you're letting those, I forgot the little void disc, the ones that would, like, you get too many of them, and they would just do consistent area damage and just wipe people out if you didn't manage the whatever you want to call that, like monster management. You weren't doing that correctly, they would just wipe out whole entire forces and they would overrun you. People would shit talking to you like, man, you didn't take them out, you're the reason why we died, you suck. You got no void points. I miss elite voids being top tier armor. I wouldn't even mind if this stuff wasn't top tier anymore, man. Even if these things were like level 80 or whatever. I don't know. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably in the minority. I know I'm in the minority, but I do miss I do miss big dudes and their armors being relevant. I mean, it's crazy that old school copied the Korsai sword, the one that was what's the word for it? The one that was notorious for being overpowered. Like that quest came out and people were using that sword to PK because the special attack did a ridiculous damage output and had a ridiculously good spec of getting like high 70s or 700s because it was, I think it came out around the time it changed HP. Well, no, that was a 2008 or 2009 quest, so it was still like a year before Dungeoneering came out and they switched over from hit points to Constitution, but yeah, it's just crazy to me that old school RuneScape copied that from RuneScape 2 at the time, and we're just afraid to have anything like that. Like newer weapons don't really have specialties anymore. It's all about the passives. Like it's just it's such a they're trying to make everything cohesive, you know, so it doesn't overwhelm newer players when they're playing, and you have seamless transition into low tier combat to mid tier combat to high tier combat. Yet you have a bunch of stuff that's nowadays considered mid to low tier, like Dragon Dagger, the Granite Maul. Like no one uses any of those anymore. They're not a thing because you can weapon poison everything. You basically drink a weapon poison potion, and that's not what I want. Basically drink a weapon poison potion and it gives you a straight poison buff over any damage, not just the weapon damage. So if you have any switches, magic will do poison damage now, range will do poison damage now. You don't have to have tip bolts that'll do it. It'll do any ranged ammunition, any melee ammunition, any necromancy attacks. It just gives you a flat bonus depending on what, flat poison percentage depending on what potion you use. So the GDS spec doesn't really do the same damage potential. I think the highest I've hit, like on old school, you can hit like 20s to 30s on those, and in comparison, I think the highest I've done is like 10. So you get like the comparison of an old school RuneScape 20 damage DDS spec from 25 specialty usage. Like they changed, I think the only specialties that I've seen people use is the Gothic staff, the Claws of Gothics from the Mage Arena, because it's for low tier combat, whatever that spell used to do, because I don't remember. I didn't really, even when the spells were a thing in pre-EOC, I didn't really use the spells all that much because they weren't that useful in late game. It's all about the blood barrages. which I didn't have. I had the Blitz. It was like Blood Blitz, the singular one, not the area one, because the Blood Broth was like 92 to 96. But yeah, they turned that spell when they got rid of them, Claws of Guthics, into a special attack. Mid tiers will use that that spec because it's good for Ironman for certain applications in that mid tier. I don't see anyone using specs. I guess except for the Spear of Annihilation. I think no, that one's a passive, so there's no spec on that. I don't think they don't have specs on newer stuff. It's like, why? You had this whole system for years, and you just, because you got a new combat, you decided we're not doing specs anymore. Why? I don't see the use of getting rid of that. Why wouldn't you keep those specs and you could use, like, especially for necromancy, that skill is catered towards making combos, basically getting chains and stacks, and you use those stacks to chain up damage to do massive damage output all at once. Okay, I lied. They do have specs, so that these released out in 2023. Once you start getting tier 60 and above, they do have specs. But there's my spec there for that. They do have specs, but it's varied. Some of the highest tier combat stuff I don't think has specs, which I think is a huge waste. Oh, that gets rid of. I think it's rid of that. Okay. Yeah, instead of panicking, I gotta get used to that. Finish the train of thought. It's very sparse and in between, and I don't understand that feeling. I think they need to fully embrace putting specs on any new weapons that they now put out. That would be nice. Ooh, shut up. This one has less. This one has less prayer drain, so you can kind of just sit there and stall with that. Whereas the Soul Split has like a near 4-point prayer drain. I think, yeah, I think it renews. Oh shit! No, 595. I don't know why that. I don't know why that can't out class that. I think it was a little slow to draw at the time. Yeah, you gotta remember that thing did 75% of my health on each hit. That is near impossible to out. There might be something like a calorie bomb that can outdo it. I don't think so, but I'm just getting into like high level PvP. The highest thing that I ever did EOC was God Wars Dungeons, because you could sit there and camp those for a time. The highest I did, I really wanted a Bandos. I was really aligned towards Bandos. I don't know why. I think Bandos is one of the worst. god swords that you can get, but it was the cheapest one that you could buy, and it was decent at stats. You got like a strength, attack upgrade upon hit, and it did like a 15% damage hit. I think the better ones were Zamorak for being able to basically camp, because it had like a blood leech effect. People would use that to camp spots that made leave. It was like having their own blood barrage effect. I forgot, people wanted Ceradomin for some reason, but the one that everyone wanted was Armadillo, because for whatever reason they made that god like best stats. It did the best stat boosting. Like, I forgot exactly what it did, but it gave you the best stat boost upon a successful hit. It's like having your own potion maker. I haven't eaten a single thing, and we're just about there. Like I said, this was... even though I lost, this is a very good... Like, we're going to look at the positives. I now got my... whatever that thing is, the necrotic focus or whatever that I need to be able to do a 2-in-1, to get 2 steps done, to have tier 90 tank armor. Which even that, this is more iconic, and I agree with them on the iconic stance. Still, it's a little crazy to think about that at this day and time, tier 90 tank armor and then a jab. Like, they could have done harder monsters. And they did for the power armor, I guess, because they make you do Solak. They make you do Virago. They make you do Solak and 3 others for tank armor. I want to eat. I want to pot up. Necromancy. Magic. Damage. Oh! Magic. Ranged. Ranged. That is crazy. That was so easy. Oh my god. Less than an hour? Less than 45? I wonder if there's one for less than 30. Yeah, so I did a Reaper assignment. Fire Cape. Hell yeah. Look at that, man. And that's so sad that the Fire Capes don't give you more points than the no, than the 99 capes. The 99 capes give you like 33. Actually, it does give you better damage output. But only for only for melee. Wow. Hell yeah. Damn. Well, that is my first ever fire cape, and that was so easy. Yeah, but dude, acquiring stuff back in pre-EOC was so hard to do. Like, even getting even getting Barrows armors was such a hard feat to get. Like I attempted doing Jad with full Bandos armor and everything, and the highest I've ever made it to, I think looking back on it now, is like around 32 or 36, and that was absolutely chugging a full inventory of food and using all my prayer pots, so I didn't have access to prayer renewals. Pre-EOC Jad was, and all the enemies were still difficult. Well, okay, so I never got the. No, I had to be pre-achievement diary, so I never got the requirement for killing those magic throwers that were super difficult. But I remember getting to like around 36 or whatever, the one after that that has the magic thrower, and then the little dragon Trogdor demons that sap your prayer, because those used to be those things. Those things were worse than the magic throwers because they eat your prayer. Those things were super hard. If you didn't have the DPS to get rid of those were so hard. But level 3. Oh yeah. Like I said, Rarg was the first one to do it. Well, I suck. I mean, I'll admit that all day, every day. I suck at PvM. Like tier uh, tier 70 necromancy. Oh, for well, for the current endgame shit, yes. For pre-OC endgame stuff, dude, like this is a testament to that. No, absolutely not. Like I didn't have any of that bound to keybinds, and I was still manually going through settings, and I was able to wipe that shit out. But both endgame stuff on RS and RS3, absolutely yes. You have to be a sweaty nerd. Like if you've ever watched Desert Treasure 2 for old school RuneScape, you have to be a sweaty nerd about character placement, like where your character is standing, prayer switching, and then armor and weapon switching, like, and of course eating. Like you have to be a click nerd about that. Well, my thing is I didn't have the. I guess. I guess if I was really good at PVMing and I was really good at clicking, I could have done it at like whatever level I was, like a combat level 100, 110, whatever I was at the time, because pre-EOC I was 80 combat skills. I might have been like 75 range, but I was 80 magic, 80 attack, strength, defense, all that stuff. I still had a hard time. But for Jad, if I had prayer renewals, I probably could have gotten the Jad. But at that time, flasks were out in like 2011. I had the quest done, and I couldn't make them, and I wasn't spending. Dude, flasks were like 20 to 25k per jar, and you have to have crafting level 89, and my crafting level was like only 80 or so, and crafting was still expensive to level up. I wasn't paying 25 a jar, and flask break. So you make a flask, you can only put potions into them once, and then when you're done with all 6 doses, they break forever. So then you have to go and continually mine more robust glass. And it used to be that you were only allowed a certain amount of glass per day. It was a daily, so you could you do the quest. You had to have like a high mining level, like 80 or something, to mine glass. And then you only got a certain amount per day. So you know, if you were burning like 50 flasks a day, I think you only got somewhere around like 30 to 35. It would have been better if I had renewal potions, the ability to make those. And I would have needed the farming level, the herblore level, the crafting level to be able to sustain that. If I had all that, Jad probably would have been a possibility for me. But I'm not good enough to do them at level 30. And I probably never will. So I don't think I'm going to invest that amount of time to learn how to do recoils for all 62 waves. Well, I forgot. There was a little. I think that was for Streamlabs. I think I took that off. I'm sorry. Someone subscribed during the middle of this or something. Oh, thank you. I keep saying this, but I do not have any of this nearly set up like a real streamer, and I really should invest the time in this and quit being so lazy. But yeah, I just wanted to showcase Jad. It's been since I learned of Jad, probably 2008. So, you know, that's members only content. I don't think I was aware until you do the Zara City quests. So somewhere around 2008. Yeah, at this point, it's been like an 18-year conquest, and I was able to do it pretty breezily under 5 tries. So I did it a couple times before. I want to think like probably 2 to 3. But thanks for watching. Next time we'll stream next because I've been having trouble on next. And I want to be able to capture that. So until the next episode, YostToastSpaceGhost signing out.